Good morning, all. I'm Maureen Higdon, and I'm the Secretary of the Board of Trustees, and it's my pleasure to say hey to everybody. Aloha, hola, any other language you want recognized. I think I'll do the announcements first, and then take a moment to look at our centering thought to kind of get us transitioned. So, announcements. We have at least one lovely child here today. Adult religious exploration. My personal theology will be in the founder's room right after service. And Board of Trustees is meeting Tuesday. Centering Around Grief is meeting 8:20. Let's see if there's anything else on the community connections that I missed off. We have a memorial service coming up on the 24th, the Spiritual Life Team meeting on the 27th, and y'all get ready for the Back to School fundraiser on September 7th. And we will have training on the 14th and the 21st. So, shall we? Yes.
Those should be Google Drive trainings, not Zoom trainings.
Thank you, Ann. Google Drive training. It said something different, so I skipped over it because I knew better. Okay. All right. Centering thought.
Maureen?
Yes?
Mark and I want to talk about your fundraiser.
Okay.
We got a lot of voices.
Hello, Mark. How are you doing?
Well, it's late August, and I really feel like I should collect my books and get on back to school.
Back to school as opposed to what?
Well, I guess I could steal my daddy's cue and make a living out of playing cool. Or find myself a rock and roll band that needs a helping hand.
Oh, gosh, Mark. I can tell you're trapped in the Rod Stewart zone.
I can't get Maggie May out of my head. Is there a cure for this?
Why, yes, there is. Back to school bingo at the MBUC fundraising lunch event.
Ah, lunch, sandwiches, mac and cheese, drinks, 5 games of bingo, with yours truly calling the bingo numbers. We have lots of fun planned.
Well, we certainly need to keep raising money for the MBUC because we aren't out of the woods yet.
Well, then, that reminds me. In October, we will have 2 important fundraising events. A recital by Lily, Maggie, and April, and that's on October 5th, and our fall fundraising festival on October 18th.
Please submit your donation forms for arts, crafts, services, silent auction items, and baked goods. We're putting a lot out there, including a stay at a 5-star resort anywhere in the world. Whoa. Please get your forms filled out.
Thank you for all your support, and we look forward to seeing you at these events.
Where are the forms? Where are the forms for the auction? On the table over there? Okay. All right. Centering thought. Our lives are not our own. From womb to tomb, we are bound to others, past and present. And by each crime and every kindness, we birth our future. And I assume this is a game, BioShock. Robert, there you are.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Robert Tidwell. I'm the Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration, and today I'm your lay leader. Quick correction, the quote from BioShock, I accidentally got a quote that was misattributed. So it's actually from David Mitchell from the book Cloud Atlas. Somebody on the internet told me it was from the game BioShock, and they were wrong. Our opening words today are from the game that I'm going to be talking about later, called Death Stranding. The paths we walk become roads. See those footprints you're leaving behind? If you were a spy on a mission, you would have failed, but you're not. So be proud of those tracks. They're proof that you exist. Now, if you please rise as you're comfortable and able, and join us in singing our welcoming song, number 346 in the Gray Hymnal, Come Sing a Song with Me. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Lily. We start each service off with the sounding of the bowl. We ring the bowl 3 times. First, we ring the bowl in honor of those who came before us, including the Tongva people, who were the original stewards of this land. We ring the bowl a second time to honor those of us who are here today in community, whether in the building with us or connecting on Zoom or watching the service on YouTube later. And finally, we ring the bowl a third time to honor those who will come tomorrow, those who are seeking a community or who are exploring their search for truth and meaning. Thank you. And now, Lauren, if you can come up and light our chalice, please. Our chalice lighting words today come from the game Kingdom Hearts. The heart may be weak, and sometimes it may even give in. But I've learned deep down there's a light that never goes out. Although my heart may be weak, it's not alone. It's grown with each new experience, and it's found a home with all the friends that I've made. I've become a part of their heart, just as they've become a part of mine. And if they think of me now and then, if they don't forget me, then our hearts will be one. I don't need a weapon. My friends are my superpower. And that's from Sora, Kingdom Hearts. Now, if you'll please stand again, and we'll sing our chalice lighting song, Rise Up, O Flame, number 362 in the Gray Hymnal. Everybody. For any visitors who are here today, the chalice is our symbol of faith, and we light it at the beginning of each service. And we also share a covenant, which we're going to read in just a moment. Unitarian Universalism is not a creedal faith, but covenantal, meaning there's no set belief that you're required to share. no sacred text that is universally accepted as true. Instead, we covenant promises that we make to each other and to ourselves about how we will engage with each other. So if we can read this in unison, please. Thank you. Please be seated. So I did something in my planning of the service, and I moved the joys and sorrows up, but I realize now, in the moment, that we usually do that after we ask for the collection, so I have time to go and get them. So we're going to come back to joys and sorrows. And instead, we're going to sing, sorry to make you keep getting up and down. We're going to sing Spirit of Life 1, 2, 3 in the gray hymnal in English and in Spanish. And if you have the gray hymnal, it's also in the back cover in Spanish. So please stand and we'll sing. Sorry. Thank you for being flexible. You can take a seat. Yeah. We will now accept your generous offering. We share our collection each month with a different organization that's been suggested by the Justice Team and approved by the board. This month we are sharing our plate with the Immigrant Defenders Law Center, IMMDEF.org. They are a social justice law firm that defends our immigrant communities against injustices in the immigration system. So please, if you can bring your donations forward as we listen to Lily playing her offertory. Thank you. Thank you, Lily, and to everybody who gives so generously to us to support this congregation. We do have one sorrow to share, which is Brianna, who's not here today. She's our kindergarten and preschool teacher. Her dog is in the vet with an emergency, so we're going to keep Nala in our thoughts. Jaryus, do we have any joys or sorrows on the Zoom? Nope. Okay, we're good to go. I'm now going to share a haiku from the game Ghost of Tsushima. In the game Ghost of Tsushima, you play as a samurai named Jin in feudal Japan, as his home is being conquered by the Mongolian Empire, a real historical event that happened, but this is a fictional game. In the game, your character gets stronger and gets new equipment, not only by fighting the bad guys, but also by paying attention to nature and completing different meditative tasks, such as writing haiku. You'll see a bit of how this is done in the video game, and the character will read the lines as we focus and concentrate on peace as a concept. Okay, now sing our Ascendant song, number 108, My Life Flows On, an Endless Song. So please rise as you're willing and able, and we'll sing that song. Thank you. Please be seated. All right. Okay, allow me to introduce our first speaker. You've heard their names several times during the services, but he's typically hard at work managing our Zoom and the screen behind me and the sound. Phew, Jaryus, you do a lot. Why don't you come out here and tell us about a game that you like to play called web fishing?
It's me. Hello. Okay. All right. Sorry, Zoom people, if there are any audio problems for the duration of this. There's no one in there right now. So you'll just have to deal with that. Sorry. All right. Hello, everyone. It's me again. I feel like I've been up here way more than usual recently, which is to say that I've been up here twice in a whole year, which is more than the 0 times I typically am. But before I start joking too much, I do have something mildly serious that I want to say. Video games are one of the few topics that I feel that I can speak openly about due to the fact that this particular hobby has been one of the exceedingly rare constants through my continuous development as a person. I could speak for hours about the endless lessons that I've learned and unique experiences that I've had just from playing video games. But since I don't want service to run too over time, I'll try to be a little concise. When Robert approached me initially about speaking for this service, I had no idea how I could possibly sift through the thousands of games that I played just to speak about one of them. But ultimately, I decided that simplicity was the best approach. And so I decided to speak about a little game called web fishing. Web fishing is a simple game with a simple premise. You make a little character, you go out to a lake, and you go fish alongside everyone else playing the game. When you catch a fish, you can sell that fish for money, which you then use to buy a variety of items, like clothing for your character to wear, or a guitar to play songs on, or a boxing glove that's a joke item that you can use to push people into the water when they're not looking at you. Typically, however, the money that you receive is used to buy better fishing equipment, which you then use to catch bigger fish, which you can then sell for more money to buy even better equipment, and so on and so forth. But that's basically it. And some of you might be wondering, how could a game with barely any characters, no dialogue, and no narrative to speak of impact me so significantly as to warrant writing a speech about it? And to answer that question, I need to provide a little bit of context. If you're not as tapped into the goings-on of the video game industry as someone like me, then it's very likely that you're not aware of just how rough of a time many within the business side of that industry have had it within the last few years. It seems like every few months there's more reports of dozens, if not hundreds, of people losing their jobs due to blatant managerial negligence, or simply because their employers value their investors' money over the people who are actually keeping their company afloat. I won't go too into detail, because I'm sure we've all heard more than enough about how corporate greed is ruining people's lives. But I mention this because the attitude driving these decisions has resulted in an unfortunate trend where many large game companies prioritize artificially exposing the player to opportunities to spend more money for short-term capital gain rather than simply providing a positive gameplay experience. However, a number of smaller developers have begun producing many small, simple games focused on providing a basic framework for people to play with others online, web phishing being just one of them. But I think that out of all of these games, web phishing stands out to me because unlike many of the other games, it has no pretense of a greater goal. There is no quota to meet, no monster to fight, no puzzle to solve, no princess to save. The game exists to only do two things: to allow people to express themselves in the way that they choose, and to give people an excuse to be together in community. And if that's not the core of UU values, then I'm not sure what is. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jaryus. Next in our order of service is a story for all ages. And you might be thinking, this is pretty late in the service for that. And you'd be right. We don't have any young kids in the sanctuary today because the kids started off in the classroom. But I wanted to share a story that I found in a video game called The Blueprints. The Blueprints is a game where you go through a maze that is a house where the rooms change every day. And to help you solve the puzzles, your character finds books written by your character's mother that have clues. And I found the story really moving and kind of sad and not really appropriate for kids, but I'll explain that at the end. But it's a really cute story, a sad, good story. It's called Swim Bird. I am a dare bird, a daring and brave bird, diving so deep, a ride on the waves bird. There is not a dare I would not do. There is not a depth I would not dive to. However, my friends are not very open to the idea that I like the sky less than the ocean. Bird in the sky, not in the sea. That is what they say when looking at me. You are not a seabird. You are not a swim bird. If you are a friend bird, you'll fly in the wind bird. And shouldn't you always listen to your friends? For they know me best, or so they pretend. So I dare not dive, and I dare not swim, and I dare not step foot in the ocean again. And I dare not smile, and I dare not laugh, for they will do it for me, and on my behalf. And I dare not dream, and I dare not speak, for maybe my friends won't like the real me. And I will say goodbye to the dreams and the sea, and wonder why daring feels just like defeat. Now you can see why I wanted to include the story, but also that it's not really, I think if it was intended for children, the bird would stand up to those so-called friends and maybe go find some penguins to hang out with. And birds come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, so. But I did find that really, thoughtful. Anyway, to lift our moods back up, let me introduce Geoff Norman Anderson, who is going to be our next speaker, and he's on Zoom. For a good portion of his life, Geoff attended Monte Vista UU, but it's been a while. So if you were here maybe about a decade ago, you might recognize Geoff before he moved to Michigan. So Geoff is going to talk about a game called Final Fantasy XIV. Thank you, Geoff.
Good morning. My name is Geoff Norman Anderson. I am the tech director for the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Grand Traverse in Traverse City, Michigan, and a former youth participant in this congregation. I'll get to video games in just a minute, but first I would like to provide a little context. Growing up, I was blessed with a strong UU-centered community of friends and kin of intention knit together in homeschooling groups, UU congregations, and youth programs, both at Monte Vista and at Camp de Benneville Pines. Even after I moved to Michigan in 2016, I continued to fly back to Beneville every summer until I aged out of youth camps. As a neurodivergent teen, Beneville was one of the few places where I felt at home. Youth camps offered opportunities to practice what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. called beloved community, centering love and right relationship with the goal of allowing everyone equitable participation and all that they needed to thrive. My camp experiences resulted in deep, enduring friendships that still sustain me and that firmly rooted my personal spirituality in the beloved community ideal. In late 2019, the winter after I circled out of youth camps, I was on a Discord call with one of my very, very dear camp friends, your audiovisual tech, Jaryus. This wasn't unusual. We regularly meet up online to talk and play video games. And during this particular call, we ended up discussing the recent popularity of the massively multiplayer online game, or MMO, Final Fantasy XIV, and the popular buzz around it at that point. We'd both tried to get into the game unsuccessfully before on our own time, but the positive word of mouth had us intrigued, so we agreed to give it another shot over summer vacation when we had a little bit more time. Of course, little did we know that within a few months, a global pandemic was going to suddenly leave us with a lot more free time than we had planned. So we ventured into FF14 together a bit earlier than expected. And within weeks, we'd started recruiting other friends as potential players, even those who'd never been to camp. And something magical happened. One of the defining features of an MMO is that it is a multiplayer experience where all players exist in the same continuous world as every other player on that game server. And in the case of the server that Jaryus and I play on, that's over 500,000 people. The interconnectedness of the FF14 game world provided our small group of friends with a tangible place to connect virtually. One where we could embody our ideals of beloved community, transcending the thousands of miles between all of us and the lockdown orders keeping us at home. This connection was so meaningful that friends who didn't have powerful enough computers to run the actual game would still often join Discord calls to hang out, people watch, talk about our lives, draw art of our in-game characters, a piece of which literally adorns my wall right there, and to watch us play FF14, a game that is centered around interconnection and an ethic of community care. Now over 12 years old, FF14's ongoing and still unfolding main story focuses on a group of adventurers traveling around the world of Atheros, learning from its different cultures and peoples, and joining locals in their individual and collective struggles through peacemaking, disaster recovery efforts, and the hard work of pushing back against imperialism and colonialism. Ideals of pluralism and beloved community that I'd grown up exploring in UU spaces form the core of Final Fantasy XIV's narrative arc. Celebrating interconnection and the inherent worth and dignity of all, FF14 insists that we are stronger together, with a duty to participate in reciprocal care, sending a powerful message that however big our differences seem, we can learn to love each other and coexist together for the benefit of all. The exact same principles that were at work in our decision to abide by the stay-at-home orders. The game's social features mechanically reinforce this beloved community ideal, necessitating that players engage with content together in order to continue the story, collaborating together to build a better in-game world. There are in-game systems to build community groups and virtual residential districts specifically designed for social interaction. Players can choose to put down their weapons to play as crafters, creating items both for non-player characters written into the game and active human players alike. Ongoing game content explicitly tasks these crafters to band together to help rebuild areas of the game world struck by disaster in the ongoing narrative arc. Some online games deliberately, or because of game mechanics, foster toxic player behavior. But FF14 works hard not to do so. Even outside of my little sub-community, interactions with random strangers in the game have proven far less toxic than any other online game I have ever played. And while algorithms used by X and other online platforms like Facebook deliberately foster conflict and controversy in order to boost engagement, the game mechanics of FF14, in contrast, deliberately foster connection, community, and an ethic of communal care. Internet platforms nowadays are often used as tools to sow fear, alienation, and division between people. Both video gaming and online communities are often viewed through a critical lens that frames them as inferior activities, potentially harmful to the work of building deep, meaningful relationships. But my experiences with Final Fantasy XIV tell an alternate story, one of possibility. Video games can build meaningful community, and online interactions do not have to automatically decline into fear and hate, or undermine the work of beloved community. The difference lies in the ways that we use these games and platforms, in the ways that online platforms are set up, and how we as users covenant together to act with respect, kindness, compassion, and inclusivity, in how players and participants hold firm the boundaries needed to uphold safe and inclusive community. As UUs, we have a choice in what we believe, and where and how we put our attention and energy. May we always question the stories we are told, and lean into life-sustaining, connecting activities that nurture us and others, carrying us closer to beloved community. Thank you.
So great. Keeping with the Final Fantasy theme, I've asked Lily to play a piece of music from Final Fantasy VII called Cosmo Canyon. Thank you so much, Lily. I was a little nervous asking her to play that because it's just classical pianist, very talented. Can you play a video game song? But
Actually, video game music is very good.
yeah. It's kind of funny. My best friend loves video games, and she gets mad at me because I play with the sound off usually. If I had known it was all that good. So I'm going to talk today about a game called Death Stranding. It's a very unusual game, and so to save time, I'm going to talk about it in pretty straightforward ways at first. I will describe how weird it gets later on, but the weirdness isn't my focus. I want you to understand why this weird video game is spiritual and beautiful, and how it reflects our values, even if most of you, okay, any of you, will never play it. To start off, the premise is that there's a mysterious new illness that's spread across the globe, causing people to disconnect socially, retreating into shelters and in isolation. They have to rely on porters to deliver essential goods to them, since they are incapable of leaving their homes. That doesn't sound too weird, right? Sounds kind of obvious in 2025, but this game came out actually a few months before the COVID pandemic, so it was prescient, if nothing else. You play as Sam Porter Bridges, and he's asked by his dying adoptive mother to save his adoptive sister, who is being held captive, and to go across the country bringing various cities and prepper stations onto a network known as the Chiral Network on his way, since he has to make the journey anyway. Jaryus does another video playing, but can we get that started? Sorry, I wanted to show some of the aesthetics of the game. I'd like to point out that you're walking in a world with advanced technology. You're outdoors in the daylight, hiking through rough terrain, and there's some roads, but you'll notice you don't see any other players. This isn't the massive multi-online game that Geoff was talking about with hundreds of thousands of people playing in the same world. This isn't even the social game that Jaryus talked about, where people are fishing and socializing. as you play, you walk through this world and you use tools to navigate the terrain. After you use the tools, you will leave them behind and they'll stay in the game world. This, even though there aren't other players, this is an online game, and those tools and devices will stay in the online game world. As my character walks through, you'll notice at first it's kind of empty, and then you'll start to see some of these tools develop. You'll see at some point a ladder that's left by somebody else is already laying across the river that I need to cross. And so I use his ladder to cross the river and give it some likes, and I keep on keeping on. This type of interaction is the focus of the game. The creator, Hideo Kojima, wants you to feel relieved when you come across a problem that you weren't prepared for. You don't have the tools to get past it, but somebody has already laid the groundwork. Somebody has already left infrastructure to help you. That moment is where this game gets spiritual. You don't leave the tools behind because you want a reward. There's no money in this game, there's no transactions. You leave tools behind because you know what it's like to be stuck. You know what it's like to not be prepared. You pick up lost packages because someone has already picked up some of yours. Many of our UU values are at play here. We have equity, justice, interdependence. These interactions are the core mechanic of the game. So here's me crossing the ladder. The theme of the game is connection, bringing people together by giving them a way to communicate, such as the very, very good Wi-Fi system, the chiral network. But it's also about just learning to love the world again after deep, terrible tragedy. Your character, Sam, is grieving his late wife, and he's been isolated from his family. Many of you know that I lost my brother to a random, unforeseeable event. He was at work one day, and he took a nap on his lunch break, and he never woke up. I played this game shortly after that incident. I was never much of a gamer, and I didn't really ever use his PlayStation. I liked a few games here and there, but mostly I saw them as like the games that I played as a kid, Sonic the Hedgehog, Mario, these kind of simple, repetitive games. After he passed away, a friend of mine talked to me about playing a game that she liked called Final Fantasy XIV. You might have heard of it. The game that Geoff spoke about earlier. And it built in me a routine hobby of gaming. I was using my late brother's PlayStation to hang out with my best friend digitally during a global pandemic. She's immunocompromised, so it was especially dangerous for her to be out. The world started coming back together again, and she and I just kept on playing. Once I beat the storyline, I looked for other games and decided to give this one a try because I respect the game creator. The ladders and the tools in the game were a metaphor for the very device I was playing on. It was profound in helping me process my grief. The PlayStation he left behind was one of the greatest comforts I had in his absence because it connected me not only with games like this, but with friends I wouldn't have been able to hang out with otherwise. It was the ladder that helped me cross a very, very deep river. Hiking through the terrain isn't the only task in the game, though. There are bad guys to fight, and there are these ghost-like things called BTs. You can see one there in the back. And one thing that I like about this game is that you can hurt the ghosts using various weapons, but you can also free them from our realm. If you look closely, you can see me cut what they call an umbilical cord, a strand that keeps the ghost tied to our world. After I do this, the BT or beach thing gives me a like. Connection is great, but so is being able to process the pain that you're in, let go of it, and say goodbye to a world that is no longer suited for you. And saying goodbye to the people who have left us also carries a heavy weight. We don't want to forget them or move on, but we do want to keep them in our hearts forever, and we want to learn to manage that through our daily lives and routines. Sam does this by delivering packages. You eventually get other means of travel, such as zip lines, which you'll see here, and my personal favorite, using your carrier to snowboard. Trucks and trikes are also available, but you'll see why in a moment why the carrier snowboard is my favorite. While not great for packages if you crash, it's so much fun to navigate a thrill that you'll never be able to do in real life. Here we go. If Jaryus had the sound on right now, which I'm glad he doesn't, you won't hear loud music, but you will hear the sounds of my character speaking to himself and a sound of a baby laughing. So Sam, when he speaks to himself, he's also talking to the player, and he says things like, "You can do it. Keep it up. Keep on keeping on. You've got this." But my personal favorite, "You should have more faith in yourself." I think most people should have more faith in themselves. When I originally wrote this, I wrote all, and then I had to change it because there are some people, I'm not going to name any names, but who should maybe have a little less faith in themselves. So what's with the baby laughing? I forgot to mention that. Your cross-country trip to connect everybody requires the aid of what's called a bridge baby, a baby in an artificial uterus attached to your chest that you carry with you because the baby can see the ghosts. Because the baby is both alive and not alive, right? And the ghosts are here, but also not here. My time is starting to run out, but I wanted to ask you if you've ever heard of the trolley problem. Is everybody familiar with that? If you're unfamiliar, it's a moral dilemma where you have to decide, do you let a trolley run over a group of people on a track by not acting, or do you act and pull a lever, diverting the train so that it only kills one person? The moral problem asks if inaction is enough to make you responsible. This game ends with a trolley problem, and I would like to ask what you think. It ends with you on the beach, which is what they call the spirit realm, with your adoptive sister, and who you've loved your whole life. She helped raise you. She's also an extinction entity, a being who is responsible for the end of the world. She hands you a gun, and she asks you to stop her. What do? Do you shoot her and stop her from destroying all of mankind, or do you let her do what she needs to do and through inaction let the world come to an end, but not take the life of your sister, someone you love? Before I tell you what the game wants you to choose, I want to talk to you about a concept known as procedural rhetoric. In other fields it has different names, but it's basically the same concept. You may have heard the saying, if all you have is a hammer, every problem becomes a nail. People know how to use tools that they are familiar with, and when you give them a tool, they will use that tool, and the more they use it, the easier it gets for them to see that as the obvious solution to a problem. Does this mean that people who play violent video games are prone to violence? No, but it does mean that we should think deliberately about the tools that we use and how we use those tools most effectively. To this end, the creator of Death Stranding often cites the Dutch philosopher, historian Johan Huizinga, whose work he calls Homo Ludens. The central idea is that humans developed play before they ever developed culture or society, and that play is an integral part of the healthy human mindset. Combining these two thoughts, we see that while we need to be more intentionally aware of the tools we're using, the act of play teaches us and encourages us to find new ways to solve problems and helps us develop a richer sense of the human experience. Games like these often externalize conflict and express it through violence, but the violence is never the point. The playing is. With all that in mind, I want to spend a moment and go back to the trolley problem. Raise your hand if you think you would use the weapon shooting the woman who helped raise you to stop a mass extinction from happening. Most of you are raising your hand. Okay, now raise your hand if you couldn't ever hurt somebody you love so deeply and would instead allow the human race to become extinct. There's a few hands. The game has a right answer. If you allow her to perform her function as an extinction entity, the world ends and the game reloads as Sam wakes up from a nightmare. This was the wrong choice. If you use the gun, the bullets don't work. This is also the wrong choice. The right choice, the answer the game wants you to come up with, throw the gun away, grab her, grab your sister and hold her tight, hug her and tell her that you love her. Tell her that you know that she's hurting, but you're there for her no matter what. But that she has to stop. Talk to her, be there for her. If you do this, she hears you. She tells you that she can't stop what's already started and that humans will inevitably go extinct, but she will do everything she can to delay it. It won't be very long, maybe a couple 100,000 years, but humans will eventually go extinct. but she will do what she can to give us a fighting chance. And isn't that the most spiritual answer of all? To hold on to the people who matter, tell them that you love them and that you're there for them no matter what, and to help them find the right answers in themselves? That's what you guys do for me, by the way. Baby, almost cried. You hold me, you tell me it's going to be okay, and that you're here no matter what. You're also the ladder that I cross as I struggle to make it through life's rivers and other challenges. And as that ladder, I hope that someday I'll leave you behind for the next person who's struggling, hopefully several decades from now. Then my time has run out a few minutes ago, but there's so much more I wanted to say about this weird, beautiful, serious, funny, sad, horrifying masterpiece of a game, but it'll have to wait for another time. I will leave you with words from Sam Porter Bridges, though. Words that he says to himself and to you as the player. You should have more faith in yourself. You can do this. You've gone through worse. Keep on keeping on. Thank you. Now please rise as you're willing and able so we can sing our closing hymn, number 414, as we leave this friendly place. As we extinguish our chalice today, I'll be sharing words from the game Legend of Zelda. I asked friends online, what are some good game quotes? And our friend Jimmy gave me the ones that I'm choosing. They're spoken by a character known as the Old Man. Lauren, can you come and extinguish the chalice as I read the words? Our chalice words are, it's dangerous to go alone. Take this. Our closing words come from Death Stranding 2, On the Beach, the sequel to the game that I spoke about today. It includes a quote from Kobo Abe's The Search for the Present. To forsake our freedoms is out of the question, so we will seek out others who value them as we do, build communities, raise children, live, love. We would rather strive to achieve the impossible while remaining true to ourselves, to struggle on against the odds in search of new worlds and new lands. The physical sensation of movement is something we all crave, that unity of body and soul. Now we move to build a bridge to the future that we want to see, to choose our own path forward. Kobo Abe writes, though the future is a product of every present that precedes it, tomorrow does not belong to today. To live is to imagine ourselves in the future, and there we will inevitably arrive. Yet our place in said future may not be one we envision. Please be seated as Lily plays our postlude.